So now we're going to try something a little bit more complicated in our data wrangling. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new column called year and another new column called semester. So this would be the year and the semester that the survey was taking place. And these values can be derived from the term name column. So if we take a look at our survey data, and if we take a look at the term name, which is right here, we can see that the first 4 digits are a year, and their final 2 digits are a semester. So that the semester is going to be either a 30, a 60, or a 90. 30 represents fall semester, 60 represents spring semester, and 90 represents summer semester. So based off that term name, we can get both the year and the semester as derived values. So if we go back to our code here, what we're going to do in order to do this, we have to do something a little bit more complicated. We're going to create a new function in our R code. First, we're going to create a function called left. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow us to send the text that we want to work on and the number of characters that we want to take. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be passing a value and the number of characters. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take that value and starting at the beginning, position 1, and moving over so many characters. So like for our case, what we're going to want to do is we're going to pass the term name and 4 so that we can take positions 1 through 4 and extract that, and that's what's going to be returned by this left command. Now next what we're going to do is we're going to create a new function called right, and we're going to work at the opposite end. We're going to again pass the text and the number of characters, but this time we're going to take that text and go to the very end and come back to the left so many characters, and that's going to be, in our case, we're going to go back 2 characters, and so that's going to pass that value back to that right function. So in our script, what we're going to do is we're going to start by going ahead and creating this left function. So Control Enter, and you can see up over here under our global environments, we just created a left function. That's a function, and it has a parameter, input parameter, so we pass in the text that we want to get a subset of, as well as the number of characters that we want to capture. So let's now execute our second function, and this is our right function. Control Enter, and if we go over here, we can see we have a right function now, and similarly, it's going to be passing in text and the number of characters. So now that those 2 functions exist, we're going to scroll up here first. We're going to carry that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to extract the right 2 characters of the semester code and the left 4 characters to get the year. So what we're going to do is on our survey data, we're going to create, in our survey data frame, we're going to create a new column called semester. And this column is going to have a value that's going to be the right 2 values of term name. So that means we're going to go to that term name field. We're going to grab that value, and we're going to take the 2 rightmost characters, and we're going to capture those and pass those along as our semester code. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to create a new column called year, and that's going to be set to equal to the left the initial 4 characters of our term name. So that's what these 2 commands are going to do. So if we hit Enter here, Control Enter, and then Control Enter again. So now if we go back to our survey data, and if we scroll to the right, what we can see is we have new values. So if we take so that we see that we have a semester of 90 and a year of 2018 in this case. So we were able to extract the, let's go scroll to the left a little bit so that we can see this. Let's see. So that we can see the term name, that's what we're using. So in this case, it's 2018-90. What we wanted was a semester of 90 and a year of 2018. And we can see a semester of 90 and a year of 2018. So it looks like it works properly. But we have one more thing to do. So what we want to do is we have to keep in mind that, so the year 2018, so if we have a value of 2018 30, that's really not the fall of 2018, it's the previous fall. So it's actually the fall of 2017. So those semesters that are a semester of 30, we really have to subtract one from the year. And so that's what we're going to do is we're going to update our year value. And if the semester value for that row is equal to 30, we're going to take our year value and subtract 1 from that to get our modified year. So again, a value of 2018 30 really represents the fall semester of 2017. So if, again, semester of equal to 30, we have to subtract 1 from the year. So now let's go ahead and Control Enter to execute that, and that worked properly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to verify that this worked properly. So rather than looking at the data itself, let's go ahead and execute an R command so that we can see a subset of the data. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our survey data frame, and we're going to pull records where the pull rows where the semester value is equal to 30 so that we can take a look both at the semester and the year and the term name to see if all that was calculated correctly. So if we hit enter, we can see a bunch of rows. So what we're going to have to do is scroll up here, and we can see right for this first row, let's see, we see actually I have to go up a little bit further. So we can see in the first row, we have a term name of 2019-30. So this first row, we would anticipate that we would have a semester of fall and a year of 2018. So if we take a look at the end of our data, and the first row, semester of fall, and 30, and a year of 2018. So it looks like that worked properly. So going to scroll back down. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to update the semester code. So we don't want, it's having 30, 60, and 90. That makes sense for people that are familiar with the data. But when we present this to people outside, those that are working on this analysis, we want to have a friendlier name. So rather than 30, what we're going to do is we're going to update that semester value to, if we see the value of 30, we're going to update that to the value of fall. And if the value is, if it's not 30 and it is 60, then we're going to update the value of spring. If it's not 30, if it's not 60, then it must be 90, and so we're going to update that value to summer. So these are a series of nested if-else statements. So if it's 30, then it's fall, and if it's not 30, then we're going to evaluate if it's 60. If it is, then it's spring, and if it's not, then we know it's not 30, it's not 60, so it must be summer. So that's the command that we're going to execute next. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to verify that this was made correctly, that this was updated correctly. And there's a way we're going to look at this by looking at unique values. But in order to use this function, there's a function called unique, we have to load a separate library. And this library is this dplyr library. You can see that right here. So this is not base R. This is a separate set of functionality that we need to load. So in order to access this, we have to include this function. So we're going to hit Control Enter and we can see that the library was successfully loaded with some warning messages. So now what we can do is we're going to look at our data, looking at the unique semester values that are in our survey data. So when we hit Control Enter, looking down at the console, we can see that the unique values for our semester value are summer, fall, and spring. And that's what we were expecting. So we First of all, we're happy to see that there's only 3 different values, and those are the 3 values that we would expect. Secondly, we're happy to see that they're not 30, 60, 90, but rather the text equivalent that we tried to convert. So it looks like we were successful there. So let's take a look at some more examples so we can see the full data set. So if we take a look, we're going to look at data, the first 10 rows where the semester is equal to fall. So hit Control Enter, and we can see, and we've selected just the term name, semester, and year where the semester is equal to fall. So in the first 10 rows that we've pulled out, we can see that the term name, semester, and year, so that each of these, if we take a look at 2019, that should be fall of 2018. If we see 2014 for the fall, we see fall of 2013. So it looks like all that data could converted correctly. So now let's take a look at the first 10 rows where this semester is spring. Control Enter, and we can see the data here, and we can see spring of 2017. That's correct. And that looks like that's right. So next we're going to take a look at the first 10 rows where the where it's the summer semester. So hit Control Enter, and we can see that that data looks correct as well. So we just were able to use data to where we were able to parse an existing column and extract that data into 2 separate columns. Again, that was based off of our term name. So this was a little bit more complicated, but you can see the power of R in doing this, and we were rather successful, and we were able to do this rather quickly.